Welcome to Anti-Woke and Autistic. Now, the reason many fat acceptance people proclaim that they've accepted being fat and that it's okay to be fat and all that nonsense is because allegedly 90% of people who try to stick to a diet to lose weight fail. They use that word fail all the time. They use the percentage of 90% all the time. Well, if you read enough of Instagram and see enough of TikTok and even read articles, blogs, etc., about why many women have come to terms with their obesity, even morbid obesity, and why they've accepted it and why they've become fat activists and liberationists, is because 90% of diets fail. And they use that as an excuse, as a reason to just give up, toss in the towel, and stop trying to lose weight. And when they reach that point, many of them actually gain weight and a lot of weight. So according their reasoning is very warped, very illogical, very irrational, because if we go through life not striving to achieve a goal because a certain percentage of the population who tries to achieve that goal fails, then we'll never achieve anything. No matter what the venture or endeavor, there's always going to be a percentage of people who fail at it. It could be anything. It could be learning a second language, learning a musical instrument, learning pottery, learning to grow a vegetable garden or a rose garden. It could be just so many things. There's always a percentage of people who are going to fail, for lack of a better term, or not succeed at it. Should we use the failure rate of strangers as a yardstick or a measuring device of our own potential to succeed in that venture? Well, according to the reasoning of fat activists, that's exactly what we should do. Now let's take a look at a few things here. According to fat activists who refuse to diet, who've given up on trying to lose weight because 90% of diets fail, or 90% of people who try diets fail, according to that irrational line of logic, or it's not logic, it's illogic, let's take a look at college grads. Shall these fat activists tell their children, you shouldn't go to college because 40% of college students don't graduate, they don't get their degree? Around 40% of undergraduate students leave universities and college every year, according to the Education Data Initiative of 2021. So apparently, 40% of the time, if you want to look at it that way, or 40% of college students fail to graduate. Therefore, you shouldn't go to college. Who cares about people who fail at doing something? They're strangers, they're statistics. It's about you, not some statistics, not some percentage. Yet fat activists always keep bringing that up. Diets don't work. 90% of diets fail, or 90% of the time, diets fail. Medical school. Shall these fat activists tell their children who want to be doctors? Well, no, you shouldn't try to be a doctor because, about 15 or 18% of medical students drop out. They never get their MD. According to the Association of American Medical Colleges, the attrition rate for medical students in four-year programs falls between 15.7 and 18.4%. So that's around a 16 to 18% failure rate. So it's not as high as the 90% for the dieting, but it's still a failure rate that's been determined. So should you tell your children, oh, you don't want to be a doctor, you don't want to go to medical school because 16 to 18% of medical students drop out? Here's another one. Approximately 20% of new businesses fail during the first 2 years, 45% during the first 5 years, 65% during the first 10 years. Only 25% of new businesses make it to 15 years or more. I've actually heard of a statistic where it's 80% of new businesses fail within the first 2 years. I've also heard of it being 80% within the first 5 years. But the point is, a very statistically significant percentage of new businesses go belly up after relatively short periods of time. So suppose the kids of these fat activists, these fat acceptance influencers, told them one day, "Hey, mama, when I grow up, I want to own a fill in the blank. It could be a bakery, a pizza shop, I don't know, a music store, let's see, a school, let's see, a tire shop, an auto repair shop." They want to own something. It could be a jewelry store, an antique store, an art school, whatever. They want to own something, a trucking business, whatever. And mama says, "Well, you shouldn't try to start your own business because, well, in the first few years, 20% of businesses fail. Gee, in the first 5 years, 45% fail. Therefore, you should not follow your dream of owning a business one day." Would these fat activists actually tell their kids that? It's not likely, or maybe it is, because the mentality of fat activists is that of giving up, giving up, quitting, quitting. They're losers. They're quitters. They don't keep trying and trying and trying. They give up. Why? Well, there's many reasons, but they keep citing that same reason over and over. Because 90% of the time, diets fail. Again, who cares if a large percentage of people who try to lose weight don't succeed long term? What the Sam Hill does that have to do with you sitting there at 280 or 320 or 370 pounds? It has nothing to do with you. Suppose you wanted to start a business. Again, it could be jewelry making, it could be a hair salon, a nail salon, whatever. Would you still use that same approach, that same philosophy? Well, 20% of businesses fail after 2 years. Therefore, I'm not going to open my own hair salon. 20% of businesses fail after 2 years. Therefore, I'm not going to open my pet shop, whatever it is. Guess what? Many of these influencers want to hit it big on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. That's a business. They've monetized it. If you have a ton of subscribers to TikTok or YouTube, I don't know exactly how it works, but a lot of people are making a heck of a lot of money. That's their job. That's their main source of income. It's literally they own a business. Do you realize how many fat women who subscribe to the fat acceptance movement or cult would love to make money off of TikTok and not have to work a traditional job? And so they decide to do that. But what if they knew that a large percentage of women who try to make a lot of money on TikTok fail at it? That doesn't stop them, does it? No, it doesn't stop them. Yet that's the same philosophy that they're using for giving up on dieting. You see, that's really strange, think about that for a moment. They want to make money on TikTok, even though the vast majority of people who try to make a lot of money on TikTok will never achieve that. Maybe it is 90%. I don't know what the percentage is. Yet they want to make money on TikTok and they're not going to quit trying to do that. Yet they'll give up on diets. They'll give up on weight loss because here I go like a broken record. 90% fail. Gotta put my glasses on again and let's take a look at this one. Lottery players. How many people keep buying Powerball tickets even though the odds of winning a Powerball are 1 in 292.2 million? What's the failure rate of that? Like 99.999%? How many fat acceptance women buy Powerball tickets? A lot. Even though 99.99999% fail to win the jackpot. Well, if they're going to keep buying Powerball tickets and keep trying, why don't they keep trying to lose weight? Well, I'll tell you why. Because buying a Powerball ticket is real easy to do, but long-term weight loss takes discipline, it takes willpower, it takes some research and education, it takes a lifestyle change, and they just don't want to put in the work or effort. Oh, what percentage of actors are successful? Just 2% of jobbing actors make enough to earn a living. Jobbing, meaning it's their job. Yet, look how many people try to make it in showbiz. And I don't mean very famous, but just making a living. There's a lot of actors and actresses we've never heard of who make a real comfortable living acting. But what if they go by that philosophy that fat acceptance goes by? Well, because most of them fail at achieving success, therefore you shouldn't try. I wonder how many fat acceptance women are trying to break into showbiz, even though the vast majority of people who want to be successful in acting, again, successful meaning making a comfortable living, not necessarily famous, the vast majority fail. You see, they're hypocrites. What percentage of baseball players make it to the major leagues? How many of these fat acceptance women, the vast majority are women, many of them have young sons who have announced, Mama, I want to be a professional baseball player when I grow up. And how many of these fat acceptance women have encouraged their sons to do just that, to aim for the stars? How many of them, I wonder, even though they themselves are quitters when it comes to improving their health and fitness and mobility and long term health? So, less than 11 in 100, or about 10.5% of NCAA senior male baseball players will get drafted by a Major League Baseball team. Approximately 1 in 200, or approximately 0.5% of high school senior boys playing interscholastic baseball eventually are drafted by an MLB team. So very low percentages. So you can look at that and say approximately 90% of college male baseball players fail to break into the major leagues. According to that statistic, young men should not play baseball, except just for fun, maybe. But since 90% fail to make it to the major leagues, they shouldn't try. They shouldn't try to make it to the major leagues. And if they adopted the same quitter's mindset that fat acceptance has, we'd have no Major League Baseball. There'd be no Major League Baseball games. Imagine that. Let's see. I don't see any more statistics, but you get the picture. Think about that for a second. What if we all use the reasoning of we're not going to try to achieve something, some kind of venture, become good at it, become successful at it, make a living at it, just become really good at it and succeed at it because 100% of the people who try it don't succeed. Only 10% do, depending on what it is, like Major League Baseball. Only 30%, or only 15%, or only 70%. There is not one activity on this planet for which there is a 100% success rate, no matter what it is, no matter what the activity is, there's always going to be a percentage of people who don't succeed at it. And if we go through life using that as a reason for not always trying to achieve something that we want, man, we'd still be living in caves. Fat acceptance is a synonym for quitters. It's been called a death cult. It's a quitters cult as well. That's it for today. Have a wonderful day.